Yo, what's good with y'all? What's good, YouTube? I hope everybody having a blessed day. As y'all can see, I'm gonna get right to it. We got 3 ways to regain self-control. But first, I'm gonna hit y'all with a little quote. I don't know who it's by. It's really anonymous, but I like it. It really resonates. But self-control isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn every single day through the decisions that nobody sees. When you choose discipline over impulse, you're becoming the person you said you wanted to be. And that's exactly why it's very important to have self control. And if you don't have it, I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna cause you a lot more harm than good. And that's obviously speaking. But with that being said, we got 3 ways, like I said. The last one is the most important. So, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you stay around to that. But for one, we're gonna start off with number one, control your environment and stop relying on willpower. Man, when I tell y'all this is something that is like a must, because even with certain addictions, like I'm gonna give y'all an example. Like for me, when it was the hub, right? I had when I first had stopped watching it, I had to, for one, made sure my socials, it was flooded with all type of bikini. I had to get all of that models. I had to delete, block all of them, and you got to really control what you're intaking, because that's really a big factor when it comes to self control. Because if you're not controlling your environment, I mean, you could say all this and you want to control this and that, but at the end of the day, you putting yourself in certain situations to fail. How can you really expect to control yourself? You know what I'm saying? If you can't even control the things or the environment you're putting yourself in, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, unless it's some, you know what I'm saying, at the house, family stuff, I mean, really nothing you can say about that. But at the end of the day, majority of the time, you have control over your own environment and what you put yourself in. So, and it's like self control, it starts before temptation even appears. My bad, I had a little something. But so you just got to remove distractions, whether that's social media, you know what I'm saying? All of that, whether that's bad food, junk food, you know what I'm saying, being lazy, doom scrolling. You got to remove all distractions. You got to make those bad habits inconvenient and make the good habits easy. That's a good trick, because if you do that, it's going to be hard for you to not have self-control, because you're making it easy to have self-control. If you make it hard to have self-control, of course you're not going to have it. But, so that leads us to our next point, number 2. You have to learn to sit with discomfort. Man, when I tell y'all, this is something that I'm actively still doing to this day. But when it came to my self-control journey, one thing that I definitely had to learn how to do, and it took me a while to realize it, but being able to learn how to sit with certain feelings and things. Because a lot of times, I'm gonna be honest, guys, a lot of times we think since we feel this way that that's what we want. But in reality, a lot of times, a lot of feelings in general, is really just a chemical reaction in your brain. So when you logically thinking, like, for example, say, I'm gonna just use the example of mine because I used to struggle with this. Let's say I had a girlfriend, right? And especially when it came to the hub and stuff like that, a lot of times, of course, it'll be certain things I see and like it'll get me aroused, but it's like that don't just because I'm aroused to what I'm seeing doesn't mean that that's actually what I truly want. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just the chemical reaction in my brain seeing something I'm attracted to, wanting to reproduce, because that's what I'm designed to do, is reproduce and populate, right? So that's just the chemical reaction. That's not you actually wanting it. Because say you do go do it, right? Say you do go cheat on your girl or whatever. Now after, you don't even feel, you feel shitty. You don't even really realize why you even did it, and you regret it. So that lets you know off the bat that it's not even something that you actually wanted. It was really just the chemical reaction and just your biological reaction to the situation itself. So you just got to learn how to sit with discomfort, because most bad decisions, if you think about it, come from trying to escape uncomfortable, emotions, whether that be like I said, that one was a good one of lust or let's see, boredom, loneliness, stress, anxiety, cravings, all of those. You have to learn how to be able to sit with them and become comfortable being uncomfortable in that situation. Just you have to learn to pause before making impulse decisions. And I'm telling you, you don't want to be on the stage where you're making a lot of impulse decisions that will really ruin your life and hinder you in so many ways. I promise you when I tell you that, don't ever rely on impulse decision or act off impulse. I know it seems fun, spontaneous, but impulse decisions will be your downfall if you let them. I promise you that. And that's some from experience. I promise you that. But you don't, at the end of the day, you don't lose self-control in the moment. You really, it starts, you lose it because you hadn't practiced being uncomfortable. So, when that feeling arises, you think, oh, I got to act on it because I'm uncomfortable with it and I don't like it. No, like I said, that's not what it means. A lot of times it's really just our biological chemical reactions to the situation. It's not really what we want. And like I said, a lot of feelings is not based off logic. So you just got to learn to think about that and sit with that. All right. And last but not least, the most important. Without this one, I don't think both of them two even matter. But keeping your word, bro. Look at me when I say this. Keep your damn word, bro. When I tell you, this is something that me personally, I have struggled with so much. I mean, obviously, that, to be honest with y'all, I mean, obviously, you can see this channel is about things, my experiences and things that I've learned. But that's something that I've struggled with a lot in relationships with myself, like, especially in relationships. Like, I tell my girl, oh, yeah, I'll make sure I post you or write you this, and never do it. And it's like, when you doing that, when you're not keeping your word, it drains a lot of energy out of you, and you don't really, it kind of depletes your confidence as well, because self-control is built through self-trust. For one, self-trust is the foundation of self-control. So if you don't have self-trust, if you can't trust in yourself, how can you trust in the fact that you're going to control your environment, sit with discomfort? How can you trust that? You know what I'm saying? How could you do that? Just start with things like starting with small promises that you're going to keep. Like, oh, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. You'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to keep your word to not only other people, but yourself. Because it really starts with you. Because if you can't even keep your word with yourself, you definitely can't keep it with nobody else. Because like I said, the foundation of self-control is self-trust. So that's what it starts with, and every promise you keep, it lets your brain know that I'm somebody who not only keeps my word, but I'm someone who shows up and actually, follows through. And over time, self-control, it becomes your identity instead of something that you're forcing. So that is the most important. Keep your damn word. If anything, if you can't do that, none of these ways will work at all. But with that being said, y'all, I'm finna have to dip up out of here. But it's a beautiful day outside. But I hope y'all having a blessed, wonderful day. If you like this message and it really resonated with you, leave a comment, like, subscribe. If you made it this far, comment. Let's comment self-control if you made it this far. But if that's with that being said, I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay grateful, appreciative, and Trey out.